Well, my son's bipolar, and it was 13 years ago, but it wasn't well known then, like the television now. You see it, it's everywhere. And for getting a diagnosis, it was quite hard. However, as I say, things are good. And the carers last year, it was funny, I was at the care, I phoned up for a friend, and I ended up going. This was before Stephen took ill, my son. And what happened, I ended up going, and as it happened, Stephen got worse and worse. And luckily, the carers, and I was able to get the help, and other people, you saw them in situations, and there was things you got from them. So that's been my way of keeping, I'll use the word sane.
We spend on average more time with Danny than a normal parent would spend, so that's a benefit, you know. We don't really see it as having to care for somebody, you know, it's just normal. What a difference. You know, that's one thing that's out the window. You don't have a social life.
But that's fine.
You don't realise it's gone, you know.
Our what we like, you know, it's like movies, popcorn, sitting in the house, got the fire on. That's what we like.
Cold fire, cold logs.
Kids running about, you know, like Danny, they're upstairs playing his PlayStation, or, you know, constantly on the iPad asking questions.
Well, the challenges was my wife never accepted what happened. She was totally paralysed, so she couldn't feed herself, she couldn't go to the toilet, I used to take her out every day, and like I've got a specially adapted car, and I used to take her out, and we had a good time, but she had great difficulty, which affected me as well. And then she passed away about 15 months ago in her sleep, but these, and especially Margaret, I just had a phone up and she was there in my house.
When we're out in the community, that's a big challenge for him and for me if he has a meltdown. If he's not got a meltdown, if he's not in that, it's great. We have fun trying to get him out of the house. That can be a challenge. Sometimes he just wants to sit in the house. For a long time, I self-helped, Google family, friends, but as the challenges got bigger, as he got older, the challenges get more difficult and new challenges arrive. I struggled a lot. Family and friends struggled too with it, and it wasn't until I came to Carers of East Lothian that things started opening up for me. Things, you know, parent carer groups, I started attending them, just being involved more, knowing that you're not alone, there's other people out there. They're going through different challenges but also similar challenges at the same time. Being part of I suppose the carer network has helped, and then once you've attended one group you find out about other groups, and then you can go. There's also information sessions and stuff which helps. Again, it's not all about your child and what your child has, there's lots of other people there, but just knowing that you're not alone, and if you have a problem they understand, and the parents there will suggest things that they've maybe tried, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, we move on to the next thing.
Well, the challenges were because Margaret has front temporal dementia, which is the aggressive one, and obviously the pills don't do any good, and it was calming her down, and I had always to take her out. I think my car was, I do more miles than a salesman, I think, in my car, because we were never in. I had to take her out and about, and I found that was quite a stress, that I had to always be thinking of what to do, and if it was raining it was difficult because you couldn't take her. She eventually became like claustrophobic. You could just tell in smaller cafes and things that she just didn't like it. Because it's hard to say that you've succeeded or you've done something well, it's just you've coped. I think coping is a better word than succeeding. I never chose to be a carer. It was just circumstances that made me become a carer, and I just got on with it because that was the way I, as I signed on the line in 1970 till, you know, in sickness and in health.
My husband was very fit and we did lots of walking, had walking holidays and everything, and also he was like the soul of the party, and all of a sudden when we had dementia he couldn't walk, having problems walking, and also he got quite violent, so that was an extreme to what we had been used to. But now that he's on medication, he's not violent, so that's one thing. And also to see him declining, it's like it's like being a child, but worse than a child. A child will listen to you, but as they're getting worse, they don't really want to listen to you. So it's like when he's eating, he forgets and uses his hands or whatever, that type of thing. So that is, I think that's quite bad, because you don't really want to see your husband going that way, you know. So, but what we really do is our walking. He does have a Zimmer for outside, but it's very, very slow.
I mean, being a carer is a big responsibility. You know, you're responsible for that person, you know, to make sure that whether it's as a carer role or a palliative care role or, you know, a medical role, whatever, and you do get overwhelmed with it. You do get overwhelmed with the emotions for your relative. You know, they're dealing with a situation where, you know, they've got terminal cancer or they've got a cancer or that, and they're trying to process everything, but you're trying to process everything as well, and the fact that you're processing it, but you're also trying to deal with all the appointments, you know, the hospitals, the doctors, the medication, you know, making sure that they're eating properly, making sure that they're maintaining their dehydration, their food and everything. You know, you've got all that, plus you're trying to make sure that your relative is comfortable and enjoying what life they've got left. But the carers of East Lothian, I respect them so much because you can just pick up a phone and they will accommodate you as much as possible.
Been carers for Sapphire since she was born, really. She, when she was first born, there was a wee bit of complications when she was first born. Then we came home and found that she had a bit of jaundice. So we were sent up to the hospital to get some bloods taken, and that's when we discovered that she had problems with her breathing. So pretty much from that day, from day one, that we've had a lot to deal with.
Well, my mum was diagnosed with dementia about 5 years ago. And initially I was just there just to support her. We did get a care package put in place, and I was living back home with my husband and my kids, and we also had a business. But in the last maybe couple of years, she's feeling quite a wee bit now. Her short-term memory is particularly poor.
For years and years now, try and work full time, look after my mum and dad. My mother, she's just gone into a care home. She had Alzheimer's, incontinent, disabled. So quite often on a normal day I would drive back and forth from my own house 4 times, sometimes 1 in the morning, doing all her personal care too, because she wouldn't let a carer do it, and trying to run my own business, look after 2 houses, 2 gardens.
work and look after an old biddy. So it's been very, very challenging, and I feel I've gone a wee bit peculiar because I had to give up giving any kind of social life or see my friends for a long time, because I had bottled it up for years. I came in here and it was the first time I felt I could speak to somebody, and it just all came out, and I felt like I'd inherited maybe 6 or 7 grannies. It's like I had a family again. Unbelievable. And if you make an arrangement and you can't go with one of these people, they don't get hurt, they don't take offence, they know why you can't be there, whereas your friends in normal life don't always get it.
So that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was going to be 3 hours or something.
Not at all.